What a performance from Spain. What a comeback. What a fight back. You could argue the same for Croatia in parts of that game as well. What a game. What an evening of football that we have been absolutely privileged to sit here to watch and to consume and to take in. Absolutely out of this world. And where do you start with it? From one of the most embarrassing own goals, a disaster from Unai Simon, and you thought, can Spain bounce back from this? It started very, very well. Of course, they came into this game after their final group stage game winning 5-0. They were buzzing, but they were moving the ball well. They were sharp. They were together. And 2 goals, then back to back. And you just thought to yourself, do you know what? They got them 2 goals, one around the 38th minute, and then about 10 minutes into the second half, they got their second. And you thought to yourself, what a comeback. Excellent display. Maybe that's all we're going to get out of this game. And then disastrous defending from Croatia. Too many men on one side of the pitch, not alert, unprofessional. Ferran Torres picks up his goal, and it's 3-1. And it's all she wrote. And it's the end. It's over. It's done. It's finished, you would say. And then from nowhere, in the last 6 minutes of the game, Croatia step up. They go more direct. They go more long ball. They start delivering crosses into the box, diagonal balls into the box. And Pau Torres, by the way, I thought he looked awful tonight. Pau Torres and Laporte just could not cope. They could not manage with it. And 2 goals in quick succession from Croatia. It's 3-3. It's game on. And then the opening 5 minutes of extra time, Croatia continued into the ascendancy. And Simon, he pulled off a miraculous save, a goal that looked an absolute certainty to hit the back of the net. He stopped it. Miraculous. He dived how he thought the player would shoot, but he left that trailing arm in case the player tried to cut it back centrally, and he did. And it was great anticipation, great positioning, great body shape there from Unai Simon, and he saved the ball. And he made the save. And then from that point on, the remainder of that first half of extra time, it was an onslaught from the Spanish. Alvaro Morata, maligned, abused, ripped apart by many, many people in the footballing world. Just sensational. He was truly, truly sensational, I thought, throughout the course of this game. And then he takes his chance, the touch to bring it onto his left foot, the half volley into the roof of the net. Sensational from him. I was very, very happy for him. And then a minute or 2 later, that's it. Goal number 5. That really put the final nail into any coffin of Croatia, who themselves did, in fairness, had a nice little chance at the beginning of the second half of extra time, but they looked out on their feet. And I think when you come from behind in that way, they don't have the legs they used to have. No Ivan Perisic for them either. I feel a bit sorry for them. But it was a scintillating game. The Spanish now, 2 games run and they score 5 goals. But we saw those defensive frailties. The higher line, if they're up against France in the next round, Kylian Mbappe is going to love coming up against that. Balls into the box. Benzema, great in the air. If Olivier Giroud starts and plays, 2 real big vulnerable areas in relation to the back line for Spain. But it was a brilliant, brilliant football match to watch from start to finish. Both teams played brilliant football at times. Both teams had calamitous moments. Both teams showed vulnerability and brilliance altogether. But it was proper It was proper football, proper international knockouts, the toing and the throwing, the comebacks, the mistakes, the moments of quality. The best game of the tournament so far, without a shadow of a doubt. And we've had some very, very good ones. But it was great to see both teams going for it. Commiserations to the Croatians for going out. And, of course, Luka Modric, who's unlikely now to play definitely another Euros, and that may be his last international tournament ever. I do want your views and I do want your opinions. Do me a big, big favor and smash that like button, please, ladies and gentlemen. Very important to the Football Terrace that we get that done. Make sure you subscribe as well. We're closing in on 200,000 subscribers. It would be amazing if you could do that for us. We are also running a competition this month. We're giving away a football shirt of your choice at the end of the month to one lucky person whose name we draw out the hat. Now, we have been doing games and competitions, but we wanted to really open it up and incentivize people. any super chats over the value of £5, $5, your name automatically goes into the prize draw. So if you're going to super chat here. Equally, if you sign up to our membership programs today, all of your names go into the hat for this prize draw as well. Let's take a look here at a few things that are being said in the comments section. I really want to highlight what you're all thinking and feeling. Thank you, Croatia. This game was very good. Thank you to both teams, really. Spain ripped Croatia down the right-hand side in extra time. They got destroyed. They certainly did from a... I thought from a fallback point of view, I thought Croatia were poor today. And it's funny, really, when England played them a few weeks ago, I was saying that even though England were winning, there was almost this reluctance at that stage of the competition for Croatia to really open up and go at England. And I said it's because I think they're scared of us exploiting them from the wide areas, but breaking from behind and countering. And we saw that as Croatia went for it, because they had to go for it. They tried to win the game. You got to credit them that. They were exposed massively. And Spain, in fairness, from the opening minutes, were opening them up. Spain from the opening minutes were doing that because they were far more expansive. And I felt that way against England. They were 1-0 down and they weren't really attacking. They weren't opening themselves up. That's, of course, because no one wanted to have bad goal difference in the group stages because the third place jeopardy was in play. But absolutely. I'll give us some member comments here. Twisted Bubba said, absolutely love that. You've got to love it. You absolutely, honestly, if you didn't love that game, football isn't for you. If you're not buzzing after that game, football isn't for you. Simple and as straightforward as that. Nemo here says, Morata just did a beautiful volley. He absolutely did. Absolutely sensational finish from Alvaro Morata. And look, he's had a lot of crap and he's had a lot of abuse. And do you know what? A lot of it weren't even from the Spanish. The majority I saw on socials was just Chelsea players that dislike him ripping into him, which I thought was mad. He's not even your player anymore. Is he as good as a Raul or a David Villa? No. But he's a good quality player. And it was really nice to see the Spanish get behind their own today because, this isn't a club. You can't just sell him and buy somebody else. He's the best striker they have. And they got behind him tonight and he really repaid the faith in his nation. There's no doubt about that. Artem here with a member comment says, I think Croatia's goalie deserved some love. He's been pretty good this tournament, deserves a move to a bigger club. Yeah, I mean, most goalies do that. And I thought we didn't have and I conceded. It's one of those weird games where the goalie conceded 5 goals, but I don't necessarily think the goalkeeper had a bad game, really and truly. With our first super chat of the show, just taking a note here. Aaron, I'm going to make sure your name is in the prize draw. He says, Spain haters can quieten down now. Shocking mistakes from the keeper, but we never let that get to us. True fight and grit in that game. Bring on France. Well, France have got to get there first of all. But absolutely, that should be the encouraging factor here. If you're a Spaniard or a fan of Spain that you support, you should be very, very encouraged by the way your nation fought back, the way your nation kept their heads after that disastrous own goal. That's what really impressed me. As a football fan, that's what really stood out to me as being the most impressive element. The most impressive element of that comeback was keeping your head. It wasn't a well-worked goal. It was a horrible mistake. And you know what? Unai Simon, he deserves so much credit as well because there wasn't a mistake after that. A very good save at his near post, I think, in the second half that he made, and then a world-class save. The anticipation, the reading, the precaution that he took to dive where the striker or the attacker should have hit the ball, but to also leave himself in a position where if there was a cutback or if he tried to dummy him and he pulled it off, maybe that save there is that redemption that was needed. So massive credit to him. I love to see people bounce back. I love to see people have great mentality. Mentality is key in life. I'm going to go to some of your calls now because I know the France game's starting very soon. A lot of people are going to want to go and see that. First on the show with me right now is going to be our very own Spaniard in the house. Samuel's here to have his say. Give me your thoughts, mate.
What a game of football, Terry. I mean, this is one of the best games. I know I'm a little young, but this is one of the best games of football I've ever watched. Throughout this game, I was an emotional wreck. When they scored a second goal, you could feel it was coming. But I want to start from the beginning. I think in the first 20 minutes is the best football we played all tournament. We showed incredible character, great intensity. We pushed Croatia back. And then I say a 1 in 100 chance of a goal like that happening every single time. A freak accident. That goal was a freak accident. They go 1-0 up, but like we showed throughout the game again, character. Our team has character. They didn't get bothered. They didn't get bothered by that keeping mistake. We rallied around the goalkeeper. The team got rallied around by the manager, and guess what? Immediately, Sarabia scores a great goal, making it 1-1. What I would say after that, after the third goal when Ferran Torres, after some terrible defending from Croatia to make it 3-1, I have no clue why Enrique, took off Eric Garcia. I'm sorry, it's just beyond me. In the first 2 games, okay, Pau Torres was absolutely appalling. It was absolutely appalling. Why take off a defender? It's been Laporte and Garcia defense has been very good. They were sensational, and he took him off, and then it allowed Croatia back into the game. The second goal, you could see it. We lacked energy, and in the second goal, you could feel it coming. You could feel it coming. I think Olmo had a chance in the far corner. He was standing in the far corner. That was a poor cross. He could have made it 4-1, but we moved. And then free Terry. I lost my voice. I was screaming and shouting at the TV because Pau Torres again. He got beat in the air so easily. It was weak defending. Absolutely weak defending. It was an absolute embarrassment. I'm sorry, but if we want to beat France, I don't want to see this man anywhere near the pitch because he's a disgrace. He's an absolute disgrace in the whole Terry.
It didn't make sense to me watching. It didn't make sense to me watching to witness and to see unless there's an injury to Garcia that we haven't been made aware of, and let's wait to see. It didn't make any sense to make that substitution so late. But even then, you were 3-1 up, and you just had to keep your heads about you. But I think what today did show a lot of people is the frailties within the Spanish team. The high line can be exposed, but just knock balls into the box. And honestly, I was shocked to see. Laporte is a Premier League centre-back, so it's not like he isn't used to the balls being whipped into that box. And Pau Torres, he's linked with a move to Manchester United. And again, I will not proclaim to be an expert because I don't watch the Spanish game with any great regularity. Maybe tonight was just a one-off for him in that kind of way. I'd have to research.
It wasn't, Terry. Sadly, it wasn't. I'll tell you now, it wasn't. Listen, the first 2 games in the group stage, even the friendlies leading up to it, he was terrible. Absolutely terrible. He's just a shaky defender. Every time he gets the ball, you saw it earlier when he came on, he got bullied. He's supposed to be 6'3", 6'4" centre back, and he got bullied in the air, I think, by Kramaric. This certainly, Terry, I'm telling you this now, keep him away from Man United right now. Because trust me, this guy ain't good, man.
He didn't look great to me at all. Listen, Samuel, thank you for coming on and having your say. And we'll speak to you again soon. Top man. Thank you. Next on the show, Pav is here with us. Pav, give me your thoughts on that extraordinary game of football.
Boy, what an entertaining knockout game. I kind of knew that Croatia probably wouldn't have gone through, only because of the fact they've never won a knockout game in the Euros ever. So, but I thought they could have broken the curse, but it didn't happen for them. But I want to talk about Gail Platt. The way he ran that midfield. It's a shame that I think they said that's his last tournament. So fair play to him, what he's achieved in his career. One of the best midfielders in the last 10 years to play on a football pitch. It was a really good game. That Pau Torres, I don't know how he got into that Spain squad. I don't know if it was his pretty blue eyes that caught Enrique to put him in the team. But he doesn't look like he's there. He hasn't got the muscle. Quite a few mistakes in him. I think he's better off staying in Spain. There's no chance. He shouldn't be taking a big money move to the Premier League. No way. He would get rinsed in the Premier League. He's not up to it. He's young. I'm not going to go too much into him. He's still a young guy. But he'll get there eventually at some point. But today just showed me he's not up to it. And I'm kind of happy for Morata as well, because his country has been rinsing him for the last week or so. Everyone was on his back. And when he hit that volley, oh my God, I was so happy for the guy. he deserved that goal after what's been happening to him. But both of them teams, they're defensively so poor. Who is it that Spain could face? Is it France in the next round?
Yeah, it will be France or Switzerland in the next round. And yeah, I can just imagine. I was looking at the high line today, and I'm thinking about those balls that Paul Pogba has been playing all tournament with the diagonal run from Kylian Mbappe. It could
get nasty.
It could be a pillaging. It really could if those balls are played in right. The one thing I say about the Spanish as well, defensively, there doesn't really seem to be any pace in that side. Of course, they move the ball well. It's schooled into these Spanish players from when they first start moving the ball around the playground at their youth academies. They know how to pass and move. So it's kind of weird watching Spain play for me, because I see the great Spanish side in terms of the system they're trying to play, the way they're trying to move the ball, but they just have a lack of quality compared to the team that won it 9 years ago. They just don't have players that are anywhere near the David Villas. I know Raul didn't win it at that point, but the David Villas, the Rauls, Juan Mata in his pomp walks into this team. Do you get where I'm coming from? And I think that it's interesting to see that they haven't produced another group of players. I mean, Pedri, I was impressed with him today, but very, very young, got a long way to go to develop his game. But with Spain, it's 2 games running where they've scored 10 goals in 2 games. So nobody's doubting their ability to score.
It's just that defense.
Are they keeping teams out? You win these tournaments by having the best defense. And then on top of that, you've got to be able to score. If your defense is exemplary, you've got the most amazing chance of winning this tournament. And Spain right now, after what we saw today, I mean, they conceded more against Croatia than Scotland did. Or is it the same? No, did they beat Scotland 3-1 or 2-1? It was 3-1, actually. I'm an idiot. Sorry, I'm a liar. I thought it was only 2-1. But still, like, same level of goals that Scotland conceded against them is still not great. What kind of chance do you give Spain in the next round, if they are playing France?
I don't think they'll be able to handle the pace of someone like Mbappe. I think France will tear them apart. In the midfield, France will control that. I think they need to probably bring in Thiago. I'm not sure why he hasn't been brought in, because he's the sort of player who could probably control the tempo for the Spain's midfield. But I think it's going to be a France win. It'll be easy. They can score goals, like you said. It's just that defense. It's worrying. Like, you're being opened up by teams that haven't even got pace. Like Croatia don't have that much pace, and they're still in 4 minutes they teared you apart. Like, yeah, it's going to be a bloodbath next round. I'm looking forward to it. To be fair, hopefully France go through. Hopefully, yeah.
There we go. Listen, Pav, thanks for calling in, mate, and having your say. Top man. Thank you. Please make sure that like button has been smashed, people. Of course, we're going to be live after France versus Switzerland later on this evening. Of course, shorter show now because that game is starting and we're all going to go and watch it. But I have a super chat here from Dinesh. It says, best game so far at Euro 2020. Hopefully the next match is going to be good. Tomorrow, big game to come. England stay near Wembley. If England win, it will be mad. England due a victory over Germany. Listen, England are due a win over a big team at an international tournament. I haven't done the full research on it yet. We beat Spain in Euro 96 on penalties. That's the last in my lifetime in the knockout stages is the last time we beat one of the big nations at football at a tournament stage. I know we've beaten Argentina in 2002 in the group stages, 1-0 courtesy of a David Beckham penalty. I'm really racking my brains after that. Dinesh, your name goes into the prize draw twice, because anyone who super chats £5 or more into the football Terrace, your name goes into the prize draw at the end of the month to win a football shirt of your choice. So thank you very much for that, sir. Next on the show, Tom Little is here. What are you saying, mate?
What a game. What a game that was. Definitely one of the best of the tournament. But just when you were on about the Spain team of old and this one trying to play a similar way, I think that's going to be what stops them, because they don't, like you were saying, they don't have the quality of players to play that system. That system required very intricate, tricky players who, no matter what pressure they were under, they were just so composed. And this Spanish team doesn't have as many of them. So I think the they may well have a decent tournament. I don't know who they have in the next round. I think it's probably France. But if they get there, I think that's where they'll come undone because they don't have their own identity. They're trying to play in other teams, and I think that's probably where they're going to come unstuck because they just don't have the quality to do it. Well, but today they were very, very entertaining.
Well, this is the thing. There is I get the sense with Spain there is this national identity of how, like the Dutch, there's a national way. There's a way of playing football, and I respect that. The problem is with those intricate systems Spain play, when the overall quality of your team isn't good enough, those systems get exposed. I suppose it's like anything. Pep Guardiola's system wouldn't win him all those trophies if he wasn't at every club that he was at. He wasn't able to attract some of the best players in that league and from around the world. You can't. We've seen what's happened in the Prem where the lesser teams try and play that kind of football. They lose a lot of games and they get exposed because the quality isn't there. And I suppose that's Spain's problem right now is that they just have people in there that are not Xavis, not Iniestas, not David Villas, not Pedros, not Juan Matas, not Cesc Fabregases, not Alonso's. You've got Busquets towards the end. You've got Thiago that's towards the end of his career. They don't have a defender anywhere near the quality of an informed Pirlo or not Pirlo. Puyol, sorry, I said his name wrong. The likes of course, Gerard Piqué. So it's just hard. They don't even have a player of the standard anymore in midfield of a peak Senna. Like they need to improve in the overall quality. But listen, it was an entertaining game of football, and that's for me as a fan was more important. And I think sometimes I've said this before. What I would say on the other end of that spectrum is, I used to find the old Spain boring. I used to find peak Barca boring because the games weren't competitive. So I would enjoy the beauty of what they did, but as a spectacle, it wasn't a great game. Does that make sense? In terms of, it's a bit like
it was boring because they just keep the ball and you just knew it was a matter of time before they scored one, and then the other team never really got a chance.
Yeah, it's like watching Anthony Joshua in the ring with a cream puff journeyman. It's like, we know Anthony Joshua's going to knock him out. What's the point of watching it? It's like you want to watch fights or you want to watch games where it's like, I think the best team will win, but they could lose. It's that could lose that makes it entertaining, I think. How do you think the Spaniards will get on against the French if indeed the French win tonight?
I think it'll be a game where the French dominate and they'll win, but Spain will have the moment and the lack of quality will really shine through because there'll be, in my eyes, a number of good chances that they should be finishing that they don't. And then France will have that at the other end with Benzema and Mbappe. And I think that's what will undo them.
There we go. Tom, speak to you a bit later on tonight, mate. Top man. Speak to you soon. Thank you. Next on the show, Mohamed is here with us. Mohamed's a Liverpool fan. Give me your thoughts on that scintillating game of football we just witnessed.
What a game of football. Is by far the most entertaining game we've seen in this tournament so far. I was really impressed with how both teams played. I personally think, like most people, Spain, if they do get France in the next round, they'll get exposed at the back with players like Mbappe going forward and Kante and Pogba in the midfield dominating Spain. And I think overall, France, that will probably spur on France to win the tournament, I reckon. Because I've tipped them heavily to get to the final, despite a difficult-ish route to the final if they do beat Switzerland today.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one because everybody's just talking about France as if they've made it. Obviously, the game is literally kicking off now as we speak. We all know it's highly likely to be France, and if it is them, what that side of the draws quarterfinals look absolutely amazing. Spain versus France. Italy versus Belgium. And again, we know who the favourites are in those games. But like I said, they'll be competitive because there is still the chance that something could go wrong. Mohamed, thanks for calling in and having your say, mate. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on, Terry, as always.
Thank you. Everybody else that's tuned, this is the only issue where the 5 o'clock game goes into extra time. We can't do a proper feature-length show and go through all of this. But it is now France versus Switzerland. We'll be live straight after this game. So make sure you come back and join us at the Football Terrace. Hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.